Jane had just finished a long week at her multinational company, the kind of week where your calendar looks like a bad joke and your phone never stops buzzing. She was proud of her work, she was successful, and she liked to think she had her life under control. So when she found herself in London a few days ago, she decided to visit Mary, a former colleague she had not seen in years. Mary lived in a luxury flat near the river. The building had a quiet lobby, soft lighting, and a doorman who looked like he had never panicked in his entire life. When Jane arrived, Mary opened the door with a bright smile and a perfect hairstyle, as if she had been waiting for a magazine photographer. The first thing Jane noticed was the smell. Clean, fresh, almost like a high-end hotel. The second thing was the flat itself. It was spotless. Not pretty tidy, but polished to a level that felt unreal. Every cushion was centered, every surface empty, every object placed with purpose. Jane was honestly impressed and a little confused. It was clean down to every conceivable detail. They sat in the living room, which looked expensive and calm. A pale sofa, a glass table, flowers arranged like they were trained for it. Mary brought coffee and small pastries on a tray. Jane settled into the sofa, feeling grateful for a normal conversation that did not involve budgets or deadlines. At first, everything was fine. They chatted about old coworkers, career moves, and London life. But soon Jane noticed something odd. Every time Jane lifted her cup, Mary's eyes followed it. Every time Jane took a bite of dessert, Mary's smile tightened. Mary's reaction was small, but it was conspicuous, like a tiny alarm going off. Jane wondered if Mary was worried about stains or crumbs or maybe something else. Then Jane asked to use the toilet. Mary pointed down the hall, still smiling, but her fingers twitched as if she wanted to stop Jane from moving. Jane laughed it off and went anyway. When she came back, she paused for a second near the living room door. Mary did not know she was watching. Mary was moving in a frenetic way, pulling the sofa cover straight, smoothing it with both hands like the fabric was offended. The cover had slipped a little because someone had actually sat on it, which was normal and harmless, but Mary acted as if the world was falling apart. Then she adjusted Jane's cup on the saucer, turning it a few degrees. She leaned close to the table, scanning for a crumb as if crumbs were dangerous. Jane walked in and said lightly, "Everything okay?" Mary jumped, laughed too loudly, and said, "Of course, of course." A minute later, Mary excused herself and went to the toilet right after Jane. Jane stayed seated, feeling awkward. Then she heard a flush almost immediately, and the bathroom door was still open. It was obvious Mary had gone to check the toilet after her. Jane felt a sting of offense. She was a neat girl, always had been. She kept her own place clean. She traveled for work constantly, and she was not some careless mess. When Mary returned, she sat down, but she could not relax. She kept fixing the carpet fringe, lining it up again and again. She looked fussy, like her mind could not stop counting and correcting. Jane suddenly realized Mary might not be just tidy. Mary might be an obsessive cleaner, trapped in her own rules. Jane didn't want to embarrass her. She simply said she was tired and had an early morning. She thanked Mary for the coffee, apologized for leaving quickly, and walked out into the London evening, oddly relieved to breathe air that did not smell like perfect control.